On my fantasy team this week, I am starting Blake Bortles. Yes, indeed. No Leonard Fournette this week for the Jaguars, so they'll have to pass and pass a lot to keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs. At running back, I'm going with another high-scoring game. It's the New Orleans Saints and Washington Redskins, and Washington's Chris Thompson could be a major factor. The Saints allow the third fewest rushing yards per game, so the Redskins will need to pass often. That means a lot of Thompson coming out of the backfield. At wide receiver, I'm going with Amari Cooper of the Raiders. The Chargers have had real trouble covering wide receivers this year, and Cooper caught 8 passes for 128 yards and a TD last week in his breakout game. And at tight end, I'm hanging with Austin Hooper. The Pittsburgh Steelers have allowed the most receptions and fantasy points to tight ends, and I think the Falcons will make use of Mr. Hooper. The guys that I'm sitting this week start with Russell Wilson of the Seahawks. Seattle's offense has just been in a shambles. Even with Doug Baldwin back, the Rams defense will smother Wilson and Seattle. At running back, Dalvin Cook's injury issues have me very troubled. He saw limited snaps last week. Hard to know whether he's going to play, and if he does, how much, so I would bench Dalvin Cook. At wide receiver, not impressed with Nelson Agholor. Now that Alshon Jeffrey has come back for the Philadelphia Eagles, he's third on the depth chart in terms of the receiving options for Carson Wentz. They moved Agholor to the slot receiver this week in practice. I think there are too many changes there, and he has just not been productive. And at tight end, it's hard to sit any tight end who's a starter with all the injuries we've seen across the league. But David Njoku of Cleveland is the guy that I'm not confident in. The Baltimore Ravens defense is legit. We saw what they did to Pittsburgh last week. I think they do the same to Cleveland.